Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. This week on The Bold and the Beautiful, tensions reached a boiling point between Brooke Logan and the Forrester women. It might be time for Ridge Forrester to come clean about Taylor Hayes' health before Brooke does something that she can't take back. Here's what's happening this week on Bold and Beautiful. Spoilers ahead. Brooke Logan has been lurking in the shadows at Forrester Creations and watching the sparks fly between Ridge and Taylor. On Thursday's episode, Brooke watched uncomfortably as Ridge got a phone call from Taylor and dropped everything to go check on her. Brooke has no idea Taylor is sick and cornered Steffi and gave her a stern warning about her mother. Bold and the Beautiful spoilers reveal Brooke reminded her stepdaughter that she and Ridge are the ones in a relationship and warned her to stop trying to put her parents back together. Of course, Steffi Forrester, Jacqueline McKins Wood, scoffed and reminded Brooke that her daughter didn't respect her marriage to Dr. Finn. It doesn't sound like Steffi has any plans to stop her campaign to reunite Ridge and Taylor anytime soon. Next up, Brooke will most likely confront her rival Taylor herself, and B&B spoilers tease all hell will break loose. It's not unusual for Brooke and Taylor to get in brawls on the CBS soap or the occasional food fight. We can't keep track of the number of times the two women have come to blows over the years. But Brooke Logan has no idea that Taylor is sick and having trouble with her heart. Could Brooke's attack land Taylor in the hospital? Will Ridge race to be by Taylor's side and blame Brooke? Taylor Hayes lay on the hospital bed, pale and fragile, the hiss of oxygen barely keeping her breathing steady. The once vibrant psychiatrist, who had been at the heart of countless romantic rivalries and emotional dramas, was now fading fast. Terminal illness had ravaged her body, and the doctors had said she didn't have long. The sterile scent of antiseptic hung in the air. Sunlight filtered weakly through the blinds, casting long shadows across the room. It was a silent vigil. Ridge Forrester, the man both Brooke Logan and Taylor had loved all their lives, had stepped out to speak with the doctor. Brooke had slipped inside unnoticed. She stood at the foot of Taylor's bed, her arms folded across her chest, lips pressed into a thin line. Her blue eyes, usually so full of confidence and defiance, now flickered with something more complicated. Regret, perhaps, or anger. It had been decades of battles, over Ridge, over family, over morality itself. Taylor, the saintly shrink, had always tried to wear the crown of righteousness, casting Brooke as the shameless sinner. And now dear Taylor was lying helpless, days or maybe even hours from death. A part of Brooke knew she shouldn't be here. Another part couldn't resist. Taylor's eyelids fluttered open. Her brown eyes, once sharp with judgment, now looked hazy and distant. A flicker of recognition crossed her face as she saw Brooke. "You," Taylor whispered, her voice weak and rasping. Brooke stepped forward, her heels clicking softly on the tiled floor. "Yes, Taylor, it's me." Taylor tried to lift her head but failed, her body too far gone to obey. She coughed, and the sound was like shattered glass, sharp, painful, and final. "You shouldn't be here," Taylor murmured, closing her eyes as if willing Brooke away. But Brooke wasn't going anywhere. She leaned over the bed, her perfectly manicured fingers curling around the metal bed rail. "No, I should be here. After everything you and I have been through, we have unfinished business." Taylor let out a bitter, breathless laugh. "Business? You're still obsessed with getting the last word?" Brooke's eyes darkened. "Don't act like you're above it all now. Not after everything. You spend years trying to make me feel like trash. All that I'm better than you talk, all those lectures about love and morality, and look where it's gotten you." Taylor coughed again, her face twisting in pain. Brooke felt a stab of guilt but swallowed it down. This wasn't the time to be soft. "Not now. I know why you're here," Taylor said weakly, her voice barely audible. "You want to feel better. You want to see me like this, dying, so you can pretend you've won." Brooke flinched. The words hit too close to home. "This isn't about winning, isn't it?" Taylor's lips curled into a faint, bitter smile. "That's all that's ever been for you, Brooke. Winning, getting Ridge, getting everything you wanted, no matter who you hurt along the way. Brooke's fists clench. And you? Don't act like you're innocent. You've hurt people too, Taylor. You used your so-called goodness as a weapon, always making sure Ridge saw me as the villain and you as the saint. Taylor tried to respond but started coughing violently. Brooke instinctively reached out, but then stopped, frozen between helping her old enemy and holding on to her resentment. When the coughing subsided, Taylor looked up at Brooke with something that resembled pity. "You've spent your whole life fighting me," Taylor whispered. "And now, here we are. All that anger, all that pain. And for what?" Brooke's eyes welled with tears, but she blinked them away. "Don't you dare pity me, Taylor." Taylor gave a weak chuckle. "I don't. I'd pity us both." The silence that followed was thick with unspoken words, years of rivalry and pain filling the space between them. Brooke wanted to say something, something profound, maybe even forgiving, but the words wouldn't come. Instead, she leaned closer. "Do you regret it?" she asked, her voice low. "All of it? The fights, the betrayals, Ridge?" Taylor closed her eyes for a long moment, as if gathering what little strength she had left. When she opened them again, they were filled with a kind of peace Brooke didn't understand. "No," Taylor whispered. "I loved him, and I fought for him, just like you did." Brooke's heart twisted painfully. It was the truth, simple and ugly. They had both fought for Ridge, and in the end, neither of them had truly won. "Then I guess we were both fools," Brooke said softly. Taylor smiled faintly. "Maybe." Brooke stood there for a long time, watching as Taylor's breathing grew slower, shallower. The end was near, and suddenly all the anger drained out of her. What was the point of holding on to it now? Taylor was dying. Soon there would be no one left to fight. Brooke reached out and gently took Taylor's hand. It was cold, fragile. Taylor's eyes flickered open one last time, surprised by the gesture. "I hated you," Brooke whispered. "But I also admired you. Maybe I even envied you." Taylor's lips parted, but no sound came out. A tear slipped down her cheek. Brooke squeezed her hand. "I don't know if we could have ever been friends, but I'm sorry, Taylor, for everything." Taylor's eyes fluttered closed, a small, peaceful smile on her lips. And then, with one last breath, she was gone. Brooke stood there for a long time, holding Taylor's hand, tears slipping silently down her cheeks. For the first time in years, there was no anger, no jealousy, only sadness. When Ridge returned to the room, he found Brooke sitting quietly by Taylor's side, her hand still resting in Taylor's. He didn't say a word. He didn't have to. He simply placed a hand on Brooke's shoulder, and together they sat in silence, mourning the woman they had both loved and lost. And in that moment, Brooke realized that some battles were never meant to be won. Some were simply meant to end. This story explores the emotional depth between Brooke and Taylor, two women who spent their lives at odds, but shared a profound connection through love, loss, and rivalry. Instead of a dramatic attack, Brooke's confrontation with Taylor becomes a bittersweet reflection on their shared past, ending in a moment of reluctant peace.